Hello and welcome to another landscape photography critique. Today I've got 12 pictures from Paulo, so let's get started with the first one. So you have the foreground out of focus, which does not work for this photo in my opinion. I can see why you did it. You wanted to try to get the viewer's attention more towards the center, but I really think if you would have the foreground sharp it would be a much better picture. But even then there's just not much interest in the picture. And also this little smirk or dust spot on your lens really bothers me. Also, I don't really like how the shadows go into the lights, and I don't really like this picture. Let's go on to the next one. This one is an absolutely beautiful sky, beautiful color. That's really nice. I really like that you have a river that kind of draws me a bit into the picture. You have a horizon. I really think that works well, but perhaps a bit more shadow recovery would have worked even better. I would love to see some more of the trees, at least here in these very big dark areas of the picture. And maybe you want to even crop down some of the sky just to kind of get a bit more panoramic format, because definitely the most interesting part in the sky is this part right here. So I don't think it would be that bad if you would crop off some of the top part, because it's quite empty and I feel like it might work better. But yeah, just try to bring up the shadows a bit so I see more details in these houses and in the foreground. This one right here has absolutely terrible color if you ask me. No grass in the world looks like that. But let's just disregard the color and go on with the composition. I do like the composition actually. The hill has a nice shape to it, as well as these power lines have a nice, curve to it. I do think it works somewhat. But then again, you have too much sky. There's really nothing interesting in the sky up there. And maybe just crop it to a panoramic format, maybe 2:1 or something like that. Yeah, but definitely do not like the color at all. Then we have a picture of a river with some really nice trees and very nice vegetation. But this tree stump right here, I see that you wanted to bring some interest into the picture, but I really don't think it works out, because my eye goes from bottom left into the picture and there's suddenly a tree stump leading me into nothing. So maybe if you would have gotten a little bit closer to the tree stump, include it in the bottom right of your picture, so it kinda leads me into the picture. I think that would have worked way better. And also the lighting on the trees and the vegetation is kind of dull and flat, so maybe with dodge and burning you could introduce some color and some more lighting interest, or of course just wait for different light. But I really like the exposure time. That's really beautiful. It's just that tree stump mainly that really bothers me. Then we've got another tree, and I feel like this works. This definitely works better, because as you can see, you have the tree stump from the foreground leading me into the picture. I think that works really well. Now you've chosen to make the foreground of the tree out of focus, which I'm not really sure if it works better than if you would have the foreground very sharp and in focus. I think that perhaps would work better. And yeah, a bit too much sky, because there's really not any interest in the sky. Then to the next picture. This kinda looks like a guy with his hands behind his head and something like a camera around his neck. Is that just me? Well, it's definitely a tree stump, but it kinda looks like a guy from far away. But let's go to the picture. I do like the lighting of the picture, definitely. I think there could be a little bit more dynamic in the clouds, a little bit more differentiation. But the overall lighting, especially on the foreground, I think that works. But really that big rock in the foreground really is just an obstacle rather than something of interest, because I feel like if you would have gone closer to the rock and maybe not have included the whole rock, maybe just a part of it leading me into the image, that would have worked way better. So I really wished you would have done that. But definitely this tree in the left corner really helps to give some interest in the other part of the image. Maybe you can even save the picture by just cropping some of the rock away in post, and maybe add some bit more highlights and a bit more contrast or clarity in the sky. Then we've got a long exposure, really nice shutter speed, both for the sky, for the clouds, and for the water. I really like that. You have beautiful, very subtle color, beautiful dynamic. See, in this picture you have the clouds are ranging from dark to very bright, whereas your clouds here really don't. So I really love that in terms of clouds. And I feel like you have well composed the picture. You have a rock here leading me into the image. You have a part of a rock leading me into the image, or kind of cornering the image, which I think works really well. The only thing that I don't like is this rock in the immediate foreground in the middle of the picture. I don't think it works. I'd rather have you crop it out and maybe go a bit closer to the scene. I really don't think it adds anything. Maybe try to get the different rock or just a little part of it, but it's really an obstacle in your picture, this rock. That said, everything else I really do like. Then we've got a completely out of focus picture here. It's really a shame because I really love this composition. Absolutely beautiful lines in the cloud, absolutely beautiful lighting in the clouds, and both on the clouds and on the scene. I think that works really well. All of these rocks kind of create a path from bottom right to up left, which I think works really cool, but unfortunately all of that is destroyed by just being out of focus completely. And this picture, I feel like this works. It's really simplistic, but it works. Perhaps for my taste a bit too much blue saturation, and I would love to see at least some more detail in this tree, especially up here where there's just pure black. That would really help the picture, but overall I really think that's a really cool picture. Very simplistic and very calm. You really have a nice composition there. And this one right here. You have a road leading me through the image, which I think works really well and really makes the image. Without that road, it would be completely overwhelmingly much texture of these trees or bushes or whatever they are. I definitely do like that you have the horizon included, absolutely beautiful sky just hovering over the horizon there. But I really don't like the shadows in the foreground. Now I see they probably come from the clouds, but maybe just wait until some clouds in the distance appear and the clouds in the immediate foreground disappears. You have a more even lighting, or at least get a little bit of different shadows on the scene, because this really doesn't work that well for me. And also you have so much detail, so much texture in this picture from all of these bushes that if you choose to keep this picture in black and white, it really kind of becomes overwhelming at most, because if you edit this in color, you have an additional part of contrast which kind of divides parts of the scene. You have a different part of shading. And I'm really not sure if black and white works that great for this photo. I feel like color would work better. Then let's see, I think that's the last one or the second last one to the picture itself. It doesn't work for me. The river really doesn't even draw me into the picture because it's so uneven from one side to another. And there's just something missing. There's just interest missing in the picture. You don't really have anything that my eye goes to, where my eye leads into. So there's really a point of interest missing, perhaps a big tree or something like that, a big boulder, but you really don't have it there, unfortunately. And then to the last picture. It's a really cool picture of these rocks with the vegetation on top of it, but I really don't like these very deep shadows. They kinda ruin the picture for me because they don't have any detail in them, it's just pure black. And I think if you would have waited for better light, more even light, perhaps waiting until it's overcast some other day, so you get the very smooth and indirect light, I think that would work way better for this scene. And also the fact that you've just included a little bit of another mountain or hill in the background, I'd rather see a bit more of it. Show me either more or less. Don't show me just a little bit of the background, either more or less. But I mean, that's really just an easy thing you can crop down. But in terms of shadows, there's probably not much you can do there. So these were the pictures of Paulo. Thank you very much for submitting them. As always, a very honest critique. And if you would like to submit your own pictures, please just click on the little info card in the top right corner of the video. I want to thank you very much for watching, as always. Once again, thank you very much for submitting your pictures, Paulo. And if you would like to see more videos just like this one, Lightroom tutorials, etc., be sure to subscribe. I wish you an amazing day, keep taking awesome pictures, and of course, take care.